Hello and welcome to Coffee and Catholics, a Catholic women's talk show podcast. I'm Stacy, one of your hosts, and with me I have...
Hi, I'm Alicia.
I'm Annie.
And I'm Lauren.
Hello and welcome to Coffee and Catholics. This week, Lauren and I thought it might be fun to discuss pilgrimages. For the past couple of years, there's been a couple of listeners who have been asking about a Coffee and Catholics pilgrimage, and we have talked about having a kind of an initial one, an inaugural one, or a weekend here in Oklahoma, but we also want to kind of look in the future too.
We want to dream bigger.
Yeah.
Across the pond.
So these things are being discussed and kind of talked about. But we also like your all's input. So these are some of the things that we've been thinking, and we'd also love to hear what you have to say. But kind of our first idea that we've been floating around is kind of a Oklahoma, because that's where we're from, weekend, which would include the Blessed Stanley Rother Shrine. If you haven't heard of Blessed Stanley Rother, I think we have talked about him on the podcast a couple times. Both Lauren and I have sons named after him. And he was very influential in both of our lives, especially with the sons that are named after him. So he's really special for our podcast and on our hearts. So we thought that would be a good place to start, and also almost a saint. And so that would be another, fun thing to see where we're from. But also having a night out with us where we get to hang out and have dinner, and we get to talk to you guys, and you guys get to talk to us, and maybe even recording an episode together.
Maybe some of you guys, we could do a live or something. We're really open at this point. We know definitely that we want to start with the shrine because it's important to promote American blesseds and those who will be recognized one day as saints. And Stanley Rother is one of the most recent of those, and dear to our hearts, as Stacy said. And it's right here, nearby in Oklahoma, and we can get to it easily. It's not very far to travel to. It would be an inexpensive way to kick off our pilgrimage fiascos. What am I trying to say? Shenanigans. And we are all about shenanigans, as you will discover if you meet us in person. We enjoy that tremendously. And it'll be a way to bond with you guys, which is really important to us. We really want to meet our listeners. We want to understand you. We want to have fun with you. We want to have drinks with you. We want to talk about things with you and find out what's on your hearts, because really it's really important to us that we talk about the things that are important to you. So that being said, sometime in the very near future, we will be announcing dates. We will have flyers. We will have information and signups for a pilgrimage to the Blessed Stanley Rother Shrine, which may or may not turn into a weekend of festivities. Depending on how interested you guys are, we can do more. So we're really, if you want to get in on the planning of this, if you want to get in on the ground as we plan this first pilgrimage and then the ones after, which we're getting ready to talk about, we would love to hear from you. If you've got connections in the travel industry or the pilgrimage industry, we need you to send us that information and help us.
And our email is in the show notes. So if you scroll down in the show notes, we're always right there, coffeeandcatholics at gmail.com. I know that in our title, Coffee and Catholic, that's the and sign, or it has a special name, ampersand.
Ampersand.
Yeah. But in our email, it won't let me use that, so I had to use the word and. So it's coffeeandcatholics at gmail.com.
You give a very important note. So we're going to start with the shrine, and then we were thinking we would like to go somewhere in Europe. And we want to hear from you guys about where you want to go. I will tell you, I, as a Carmelite, am quite partial to the French and Spanish pilgrimage ideas. I'd love to go to Spain. I'd love to go to France. A lot of spiritual heritage there. Zero actual heritage there. I am completely and entirely Scottish, German, and some other things, but some kind of a mutt. But I don't have any of that in me, but my spiritual heart is in these towns. So I would love to do something in Spain. I would love to go to France. My literary heart would love to go to Oxford and see all the Tolkien and C.S. Lewis stuff. Those are the things that are kind of important to me. I know Stacy has some others that are important to her.
Well, if we're going to France, my name saint is Saint Joan of Arc. And so I would love to go and see where she was from. In my confirmation saint is Saint Francis of Assisi. So there are some places in Italy I'd like to go. Rome, like I would like to do like the cool like things that most people don't get to do, like go down like into the CAG.
That's
stuff
what
like that.
I didn't do. When I went to Rome, we didn't do that, and I would really love to do that.
Yeah, those are the types of things that I want to do. I don't know if I want to do like the normal things, if that makes any sense.
Like the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah, I mean it'd be nice to see that. But I've seen lots of pictures, and I'm like they're big.
You're gonna get so much trouble for saying that.
I would like to go in and like peek my head in and be like, oh, that's really cool. But then go do the other stuff that's not as conventional, I guess. Yeah. Not that I'm like going to be like, well, let's do the Camino, but I would like to go to like on parts of the Camino at least, if not like.
There's lots of options with that. Like you can do day trips and you can do like, it's really not like it used to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to do that.
Also, I'm, JP2 is very close to my heart. So a Polish trip, so to Poland would be awesome. I am mostly Irish, so like we're St. Bridget and St. Patrick, where they kind of, they're stomping grounds, and my family's from there, so it'd be kind of cool to be like, oh, my family's from that county.
Oh, that'd be so neat. Yeah.
But so I have some interest all around Europe, so yeah.
So obviously we're very indecisive and we just want to go.
Yep.
So we need to, I think about a lot. I know families that travel and they're not, liberally rich and, just able to do these things. They really make this a priority. It changes how they live during the year. And I'm not trying to preach to anybody about that, but I've always wanted to be a person who said travel is important. And then I made that happen with my budget. Now, have I gotten there yet? No. But if some of you have, would you please come on the podcast and talk to us about how to do this on a budget?
Because that was really important to me. Like, I actually kind of lived that way until I became a mom.
You sure did.
I ddid travel. I did make travel a priority. I went to Costa Rica and I went to Japan. I've been, Canada's not that far away, but, it's far away from Oklahoma. So, and I've also traveled around the United States. And so travel was a big thing for me. As a mom, it's been harder, but my kids are getting older. But like Lauren said, there are families who do this. So knowing what those practical ways that if you're a family who does that, how do you do that? We would love to hear those things.
And there's been this revival of pilgrimage. You see priests going all the time with diocesan support and backing. There seems to be this new idea, not a new idea, this has been a part of Catholicism forever, but a regeneration of the importance of pilgrimage, even huge pilgrimages overseas. Just
this week, as we're recording this, I just sent 3 different pilgrimages that I want to go on that priests in our diocese are going on. I'm like, well, I'll just stay in Europe for the month between these two guys, and then I'll just go from one pilgrimage to the next, and I'll just visit other places while I'm there. Yeah, but yeah,
sounds perfect.
Yeah,
but there are those mitigating factors, and we don't want to create discontent in anyone's heart. But if you're a person who this has been stirring in, this longing has been stirring in with you, it could have a spiritual component, and if it does, maybe some ways to really look at that concretely. And we really, really need your kind of feedback on this, guys, because obviously we want to do all the things and go to all the places. But where would you want us to go? What would be fruitful for you? And do you know pilgrimage sites that you've gone on pilgrimage with that you really enjoyed the way that they did it, the way they accommodated? That's what we're looking at right now in this planning stage. We're going to start to really get some things narrowed down and talk to some people. So what's important to you?
And even some of those like restful things, like, going to mass in a small countryside church and then like having wine out at a winery or on the countryside, having that quiet time within the pilgrimage. So if you've been able to experience something like that, not just the rushing from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next.
Yeah, we should probably clarify that.
Yeah.
If that's what you're down for, like seeing every single site, that's not really how we go. Right. I tell you right now, there's two of us for sure that would be going on this pilgrimage, and neither one of us are that type of traveler. Mm-hmm. So we would be looking for a little bit more of a restful, possibly even longer pilgrimage in order to sort of get some of that in, but I don't know how that would work. But we definitely want to just kind of soak that culture in and just experience that, the skin, just the skin of the land, and experience it. Another one I really want to go to is Switzerland and Austria. Oh, so, and some of these places are obviously, more Catholic than others in terms of just sites. But there's beauty everywhere, and there's Catholic history in Europe. It's just like, oh my gosh. So anywhere you go, there's just going to be these beautiful stories. So we really are trying to think about possibly a European continent.
Well, and like you said, we're thinking long term. So like we would start off with this like smaller weekend, with Coffee and Catholics weekend, and then maybe like another trip that is maybe a little bit bigger. I would even be up for a Catholic trip here in the United States.
Yeah, like maybe to some sites in the Midwest or up north.
Mm-hmm. And then jump over to Europe, and then maybe have a couple different Europeans. So like this is like a several like years out type of a thing. So
this isn't years out. This is like we're gonna start getting this kicked off, but this is over the course of a few years. Yeah. So we know we've been hearing. When are you gonna do the pilgrimage? And we've been talking about it forever. So this is our planning stage, and this is where we're trying to go with this, and we need to know.
Yeah. And the best way for us to know what would actually get you guys, our listeners, out there with us is by you guys replying to us, and not replying in your podcast app, because I don't see all of those.
Go to the Facebook
page, our group page, or our business page. If you messaged either one of those, I get those. Or email us. That is the best way to get. Or Instagram, Facebook, and our email are the best ways of actually getting direct contact with us. So if you've ever left a message in like your Spotify account, I probably have not seen it, and I'm sorry. And so.
The more you know.
Yeah. Do. But yeah, so we really do want to gear these things towards the interests of our listeners. And even like we've talked about that with like our episodes before, and we do have people who email us, and a lot of those things are in the works. Like somebody might be like, well, I gave you an idea, but I haven't heard it yet. Well, we only meet once a month, and we only put out an episode twice a month, sometimes 3 if there's 5 weeks. And so it takes a while for those things to come to fruition. Right. Yeah. But a lot of them are in the works, and we do value and discern everything that is sent to us. So
yeah, we all get, when something comes in. I know you guys, we're not so big that we're like, no, well, we get so many listener emails. No, pretty much every single time we're getting stuff, it's being put into our chat, and we're paying attention to it and talking about it. So if you write to us, if you comment, we are going to see it and talk about it. Yep. So we're not big enough yet. We can still connect with the little man. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that enough. Figure out. Sounded dumb. So this is our episode, short and sweet, telling you that we're planning, if you are in for the Blessed Stanley Brother Pilgrimage, tentatively, we don't have a date for you yet, please comment below with your email and your or you can private message us with email and contact info if you want, so that we can get you the information. Be looking for it on our socials. We will be posting about this very, very soon. God bless you.
And as always, thank you for joining us.
Thanks. Thank you.
Join us again in 2 weeks. Until then, may God bless you and may Mary accompany you. Coffee and Catholics is a proud partner of the SmartCatholics Podcast Network. Find new shows to love, meet like-minded Catholics, and join the community at smartcatholics.com.